I have one random question.
I love random questions. Go for it.
How many cards are different between the emotional culture deck pack and the customer experience pack?
There are quite a few actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I should know this, shouldn't I? I can't tell the exact number, but there are quite a few.
Okay, cool.
And it mainly came about through the testing. The customer experience deck was the game I created first. I designed that before the emotional culture deck. You might have heard that story. And what I realized is that we needed a larger array of feelings and emotions for the emotional culture deck because it's so much more personal, and there's so much more nuance in individuals within organizations. When it came to the customer teams, over the testing, people seemed to gravitate towards similar ones more often, and there wasn't as much nuance needed. Yeah, so more and more. I've actually started playing around. This is not available yet, but I'm thinking about sharing it soon. So this is Mark Brackett's. He's got 100 emotions in his he calls it, he's got a name for it, but it's a quadrant: low pleasantness, and high energy, low energy, low pleasantness, high pleasantness. And I played around with, they're really beautiful. There's more nuance in that. And I put them into a PDF and started printing off and adding to our deck, because I've noticed myself as I use the game more and more, not all the labels are there, and there's more, my language and my labeling is getting, I'm getting more confident with it. And I often want to, like, we don't have irritated, and we don't have frightened, and we don't have exhausted in the emotional culture deck, and we don't have balanced or touched, but these are all in Mark Brackett's ones. So I've started to add those into the deck. So don't be afraid of adding cards in there for your particular client or your team. I'll share this before the end of the year, so you can just print it off and then add it to your game. Unfortunately, you have to print it on paper so that the cards don't match, but they're still there if you get to a point where you want to stretch yourselves or stretch your team. Yeah, it's sort of like fitness. The more I've lifted weights at the gym, the stronger I get, and the more I use these words, the more words I want, and I need to add to my vocabulary. Yeah. So yeah, slightly different. The CX one anyway. Yep. Surprise is not in the emotional culture deck, but it is in the customer experience deck. And we want you all to feel surprised as part of our community, but in a good way for obvious reasons, and not feel surprised in a bad way. But that's not in the emotional culture deck, but it is in the customer experience deck, because it seemed at the time more appropriate for a customer conversation rather than a client one, although it can work both ways. Yeah. So please keep adding to them if you do, because bored came up the other day in a workshop. Somebody said they wanted to add bored into it. Amazing bravery that it takes to sit there in front of your boss and say, I don't want to feel bored at work, but I do.